Hi, I'm Sam, an OpenSciEd teacher and facilitator. This lesson is the launch of the unit, and its main purpose is to uncover all of our students' initial ideas about how plants get the large food molecules we found on the nutrition information. We are moving from consuming food to the mystery of how that food matter is created. It's a high energy start, but there are some specific conceptual shifts you need to facilitate. The first time I taught this, I realized the most important thing is to let the mystery of the large molecules breathe. It's not about remembering photosynthesis or the students saying that word photosynthesis, because we aren't here to give those answers yet. And we need them to realize that there's a massive gap in our understanding of how plants get the complex matter they are made of. Let's take a look at a lesson at a glance. This lesson is a 3-day lesson with about 30 minutes of prep time. There are hands-on investigations that you will need to prep for, and the lesson requires a device to show the video maple tree tapping found on the OpenSciEd website or in the drive of the materials that you downloaded. This lesson consists of 3 loops that we will want to bring our students through over a 3-day period. Let's really zoom in on those 3 loops to help make this lesson feel less challenging. Loop 1, we're going to call the maple mystery. It's parts 1 through 3. We figure out that we see maple syrup, which is full of these sugar molecules, come directly out of the middle of a tree. This leaves us wondering that since a tree doesn't have a mouth, how did all that sugar get there? In loop 2, which is parts 4 through 8. In loop 2, which is parts 4 through 8, we use nutrition labels to see what's inside plants like carrots, avocados, and potatoes. We figure out that some plants contain the same complex food molecules, carbs, fats, proteins, that animals do. But since plants don't eat food like we do, how did those large food molecules get inside of them? This motivates us to look at the environment, soil, water, and air as potential sources. So in loop 3, we're asking the students to model how did those food molecules really get in there. In parts 9 through 16, we draw initial models of how those molecules get into the plant and then build our driving questions forward. We figure out that we think that these large food molecules might be coming from the soil, water, air, or sunlight, but we aren't sure which one is the source or how they even enter the plant. So this leads us to brainstorm how we could test things like soil or water to see if those large molecules are actually in there. So overall, what did we figure out? By the end of these loops, this class should agree on these key points. We know that all plant foods we've looked at have food molecules inside of them. There are different places the plants might get those molecules from, and we have lots of questions about where the food and plant comes from, and that we have ideas for future investigations to pursue that could help us answer these questions. Let's take a look at some key moments that will help us get through these 3 days together. In part 4, this is where we explicitly get the students to notice that we take in food molecules by eating, but plants don't have mouths like humans do. So as a teacher, we really want to lean into the weirdness of the maple tree specifically. We tasted sugar that came out of a tree. We know that Unit 7.3 has sugar as a food molecule made out of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms. But if the tree isn't eating sugar, how did those molecules get inside the tree to become the sugar in the first place? That brings us to part 8, which is the nutrition label investigation. The purpose of this investigation is to connect the what to the how. Now we want to widen the lens. It's not just maple trees. By seeing that an avocado has fat and a potato has complex carbs, students realize that all plants are made of food molecules. Okay, so as a teacher, we need to realize that students often assume the plant is just taking them in. And when I say them, it's the food molecules in from the environment. We want to keep the focus on the fact that these are large, complex structures, and we don't see them entering the plant like we do in humans. So, how could those food molecules get inside the plant? In part 12, this is where we develop our consensus model. I typically start by drawing a box because my students draw various plants. If your students all draw the same plant, just draw that plant instead of a box. The purpose is really to represent a system where we can track the inputs and the outputs, just like we did in 7.1. After we start by drawing the box or your plant, I draw a horizontal line across the poster for the above ground and the below ground. In the middle of my plant, you'll notice that I have one of the cards from the McKenna lesson. I visually anchor that chart in the middle because my students come to the agreement that there are food molecules present, carbs, proteins, and fats. And these, again, are part of our agreement, and that's why that card is in the middle. We want to highlight that there are areas of confusion as well. Some students may say that there are leaves or roots, and I'll just draw those on the box. And that there are things that are entering, and so we can come to an agreement that we can use arrows to show those things entering the plant. Like the plant needs sunlight, so there's an arrow to show that sunlight, or air, or water, or soil, pointing to how those things get into the plant, and maybe it's through those structures. I make sure to place question marks on every arrow to show that we don't have consensus yet. Remember, if your students aren't saying all those things, that's okay. Go with what your class is asking you to represent. They may also bring up photosynthesis here, but remember, just because they're saying it, it doesn't mean that all students agree on what photosynthesis is or how it actually happens. If one student says it, ask another student what they think it is, what they think photosynthesis is, or even how does photosynthesis relate to those large molecules that are inside the plant. Students show that this is not an area of agreement and that maybe we have some questions about this thing called photosynthesis. All right, so where do we go from here? By the end of lesson 1, the students have essentially trapped themselves in a logic puzzle. They know that the food molecules are inside the plant, and they've identified the likely sources: soil, water, and air. But this motivates our next lesson because students will realize that they can't move forward until they check these sources. If a plant is getting fat or sugar from soil, then we should be able to find fat or sugar in the soil. And this directly leads us to our next step, which is going to be what happens in lesson 2, testing our suspects, soil and water, for food molecules. Let's take a look at some material management tips and tricks that will also help you to get through this lesson. In part 1, which is where we explore the food that we ate, we want to ground the lesson in their actual lives right away. We have them recall what they ate for breakfast or their favorite meal. But, since they're middle schoolers, if they forgot, just have them pick a meal they like. The goal is to see that most of their food traces back to plants. In part 2, this is where we have them taste maple sap and maple water. Maple water can be very difficult to find. So if you can't buy real maple water, just make it yourself. It's 1 part syrup to 39 parts water. The kids won't know the difference. Remember to use small souffle cups to keep things sanitary. In part 8, this is where they do the exploration of the food labels. To save paper and time, one thing I've done before is to print and laminate a class set for pairs to reuse, Or I've also posted the PDF to my LMS. In my case, it was Google Classroom. This keeps the investigation moving fast. We don't want to spend a lot of time here. In part 15, when you are making your DBQ or your driving questions board, remember to group the questions by source. All the questions for soil, all the questions for water, and all the questions for air and sunlight, those should be different groups. So if a student asks a question like, is there fat in dirt? Remember, we're going to want to highlight this because this is going to lead us to our lesson 2 investigation. Word wall management. All right, in part 4, you want to add the word food molecule. You're going to be reinforcing words like carbohydrates, proteins, fat, chemical reactions, systems, inputs, and outputs. And again, these are all the words that we learned in 7.1 bath bombs and 7.3 McKenna. For posters, you will need, and if possible, post around your classroom the consensus model, the related phenomena, the driving questions board, and the idea for future investigations poster. The notice wonder charts that you made, they can be discarded. You're not going to use them again. So to summarize, lesson 1 is the essential launch for this unit. Its purpose is to uncover all the students' initial ideas about how those large food molecules got into the plant. This realization that plants are actually made of the same complex matter we are is what fuels the curiosity for the rest of the unit. Remember, in this lesson, it's not about students saying the word photosynthesis and thinking that they got it, let's just move on. We really want to focus on matter. Keep pushing them to think about how those large food molecules actually got inside the plant. I'll see you in the next lesson video where we start testing our suspects. Happy teaching!